Hi guys, hope you're all having a great crafty time. This is a couple of cards that I've just done recently. I didn't actually video them, but I just thought I'd show you what I've done. This is what we call a squeezy card. So basically it's like decoupage, and I'll show you the side in a second, but it's sort of almost like a concertina at the side, so that when you put it in the envelope it will be completely flat. Now I was asked to do this card as a commission, which was quite an honour really, by a lady who wants to send it to Prince William and Kate for their wedding, to say congratulations on their wedding day. So I have done that. Now I'm sure they're going to get millions of cards. Nevertheless, I still feel quite proud that I've been asked to do a card for that. So I just thought I'd show you the card that I'd done. So let me just go through each little section for you and just show you what I've done. Now first of all, this has come from a video, from a CD-ROM, so this is all computer generated, and basically you print out, it's A5, so there's going to be 2 sections per sheet. So what I've done is I've done each layer onto acetate. Well, not only does this give a really nice firm feel to the card, with this card it's less of an issue, but with these squeezy cards what it means is that perhaps on some of these layers further back, for example the bride and groom, you could put some jewels and gems or bits of flitter or whatever in the air, as it were, as if it's confetti coming down upon them, and it looks like it's in the air. In this case I just did a little dragonfly. The other thing I did on this one, on my, again, before putting, obviously I cut all the layers out, and then before putting it together, what I did was I went down the back of the card of this final layer here, this lady, and I punched through, and it was quite difficult to do because it was even with my, all my different punches to get the holes. I punched through and put eyelets through and threaded across a ribbon so it looked really like her dress. And then I took the end of the ribbon of this crisscross and I stuck it on the back with just a bit of tape, and then I created a ribbon using a ribbon maker, and then I used a bit of gel glue and just placed that in position, and then I just used a small piece of gel glue and place those pieces that were hanging down in position as well, because you just really don't see that gel glue. Then I took these lovely little silk flowers, and instead of just leaving it the printed bouquet, I stuck those again in place using gel glue. Again, what I did was I took a big blob of the gel glue and I picked out some of the colours that seemed to go with the dress and the theme, and I just stuck them down and placed them sort of randomly, and then on top of those I just put in some little gems. So let me just take you in a bit closer so you can have a better look. Okay, so as you can see, there's the bouquet and the little gems in the centre with its bow behind, and then as you go further up you can see that I've also added little pearls and little gems to the dress as well, and then you can see I've crisscrossed the ribbon through the back as if it is a wedding dress. Now to here, if we can get you across, you can just see my little dragonfly in the corner there, again with some little gems, etc. And you can just see then the acetate and the background and how it's really built up the layers and how pretty that looks. So that's card number 1. Okay, so this was card number 2. Now this card was made again using a CD. This was made using Debbie Moore's Art Deco Paris CD collection, and if some of you have been on my Facebook page you'll have noticed that I actually won a card from Debbie when I emailed into Create and Craft about this particular CD-ROM. So I made a couple of cards using this. I made them virtually the same. The only difference was that along the bottom here I put a piece of sort of gold brocade and 2 gems, whereas on this one I've done little Martha Stewart, I guess they're a bit like your stickles. The difference that I've noticed with the Martha Stewart ones is that they do stay much more raised, which is really good. So basically what you get on this, which is really, really good, is you get a section which is an ideas, and then also the templates that go with the ideas section. So you can, there's hundreds of papers, there's hundreds of images, there's all sorts of things that you can do, but I thought to start with I will go with something that's sort of based around an idea that they've done, just to get an idea of the CD. So what I did was that I took a piece of quite heavy, not that heavy cardstock, but cardstock that will go through my printer. And originally I was going to print on one side the template marks, and then on the other side the paper, the black that you can see just there. However, for some reason only known to myself, I completely forgot, and I ended up not doing that. And actually, thinking back in hindsight, as I do, I think the reason was, thinking back, was that I wanted it to be shiny, so I decided rather than print out onto the card, I would print out all of this onto my gloss photo paper. So I printed out the background sheet, I printed out my template onto white card. The template was really, really easy to cut out. You just folded and cut. Literally, when you had the flat sheet, it had dotted lines for folds and cut lines were solid. There's literally just two cut lines there and fold lines in and out, which was really simple to do. I mean, you can easily even buy cards like this that you wanted to, if you wanted to, so you didn't even have to print and cut if you wanted. I then printed out one more sheet, which was the design sheet, they call it, I think, and it had this particular design on it, which I like, this lady. And I also then took some gold mirror card, and I cut that into two pieces, I think. So it was A4 and I cut it into two pieces, or it may have even been more, but it was enough to, there was sort of one long piece and then two shorter pieces, so that I could put it through my Cuttlebug. And I used my I think it was Victoria, I think it was called, and I put it through that to give it that lovely embossed look. So then it was very simple really to do. I literally then just cut around all the pieces that I wanted. This border was there. The red pieces were, as I said, the glitter glue, so I just added those on later. These elements were all on the sheet. The lady I cut out. Before I put the lady onto my gold background, I obviously cut her out, but I took a red feather that I had and I pierced a hole. I snipped off some of the feathery parts from the actual sort of main stem of the feather, and then poked that sort of stem through the hole in her head, because on the actual picture, when you print them out, you'll see there's actual sort of like feathers. So if you don't actually have feathers, it doesn't matter, they're actually there as a picture. But I thought it looked really cool with the real feather and give a bit of colour. And then I stuck on the back of that using, once I've put the feather through, I just used a piece of sticky tape to stick that and hold it into place, just to make sure that the feather stayed at the right angle and it didn't start flopping in the wrong place. And then through the same hole, I just took a jewelled brad, popped it through, opened it up, and off we went. Then I stuck, using pin flare glue, my lady onto the gold mirror card. I did chop off the bottom because it was a little bit too tall for a regular envelope. I wanted it to fit into an A5 or C5, I think they're actually technically called, envelope. So if you left it at her normal height, it was a little bit too tall, so I just chopped off the bottom. I took a judgment really, and then cut round really by eye the gold mirror card. I stuck that down using pin fair glue. Before I stuck her down, obviously I had stuck down my black paper. Shall I start again with that? So I stuck down my black paper. I stuck down my gold pieces at the side here. I then stuck down my ribbon border here. I didn't put the red there at that point because I didn't know I wanted it. I then did my lady as I described, stuck her down, and then I hadn't decided at that point whether to put these pieces on, so I left those. I'd cut them out ready, these little art deco pieces. Then I cut out my just a little note and then happy birthday, and I stuck those down. And then I took my Martha Stewart and just did my red glitter glues there, and I did my red glitter glue, just a tiny little piece on there just to give a little finishing touch. Okay, so that's that one. So let me just zoom you in a little closer on that. Okay, so as you can see, that's where the feather has gone into the head, and you can see how by using the gem that has just disguised the hole and also just given that little extra something. And then as we go down, you can see it just, there's a little bit more glitter glue there, and then we go down to the bottom of the dress, and then across this way we have our happy birthday, and then you can see the embossing there. And then I did decide in the end to put that art deco piece there, and then the same on the other side, and then it's our glitter glue. Okay, so that's that one. Okay, so here's a first Mother's Day card. What we've got here is a piece of pale blue basil cardstock and house mouse design. What I've did, obviously, first of all, is made up my house mouse, and I'll show you more detail of him in a minute. And what I did was I cut a piece of cardstock 5 inches deep by 14 inches, folded that in half, took some off so that I had a small piece of the bit behind showing. I then had a piece spare which I cut using a Martha Stewart punch. Don't know which one it is, I'm afraid, and I attached that to the back of my house mouse before I stuck it to the front of my card, so you can't see. It looks like it's part of the actual card, but the effect I think is quite nice is that it fits the size of the house mouse rather than the size of the card, so you kind of still see that piece there. But then what I also then did was cut another 5 by 7 piece of cardstock, and I attached it to the back. This is where it's attached there, so that when you open it like so, and you've got a 3-fold card. So let me move you across. You've got one side there, you've got the middle piece, and then you've got the other side. Okay, so on this side what we've got is I've put another little, almost little card, which I stamped inside love. By the way, this is a piece of the background paper that you've got from the Mouse House range, so I've put that in there as well. And this is just some sticky tape, pattern sticky tape that I had. And then these I just cut out from some of the spare background paper and stuck them to the front of that little card. This was from the new House Mouse CD-ROM, and that was from an insert, and I basically took the insert and cut the top off and some of the sides, and then I just used a white glue gel pen and went around the edge to make that and put in Happy Mother's Day, you deserve it there. This piece again was a spare piece of the background paper here, which was from the background pack, and I just cut it at a strange angle and I stamped in this stamp here which says, know that you are surrounded by caring thoughts and loving prayers. And again, using a piece of the background paper with the sugar lumps on it, I stuck that down and then put a bit of the tape on it there. And then on the back, or well, sort of the middle back as it were, there's just that circular, again, a stamp. I stamped a circle of little kisses, stamped just next to some sugar lumps on that piece of paper, stamped the word love, and then for all of these I sugared them up. So that's that there. And then if I just zoom you into your little house mouse so you can see exactly what we've done to him. Okay, so as you can see, My little house mouse is absolutely covered in sugar, bless him. What I did there was basically used your blue glue pen and just normal sort of crystal glitter, just to give him the sugar lumps a real sugary feel. And I did that on all of the sugar. So on the inside, down here, you can just see on there, that piece there, over on this piece here, and then on this bit up here, I used stickles, clear stickles, just around the edge of that because it was raised. I put a sentiment there, indulge yourself, and I raised it. And then there's just a little flower there, which I'd love to say I made, but I didn't. And I just stuck that down using pink. So I hope you like these